Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. In today's episode of Friday Morning Ramblings, even though it's Saturday morning, we are going to talk about pressure treated wood and put to rest whether or not you can use it in your garden. And when I say that, it's up to you. Don't believe me, but use what I'm talking about as the logic test, please. So let's start with pressure treated wood. People are worried that toxic chemicals leach out of the wood, get into your vegetables, and poison you. That's not true. It doesn't happen. Can what's in the wood or on wood leach into the soil? Yes, it can. How badly does it leach? Minuscule, little bit, tiny, small. So we have nowadays, for the last 20 years, your pressure treated wood has been treated with copper. It used to have arsenic in there. You can look up what the compounds are called, but the basic difference was it was arsenic, now it's copper. When you had the wood that was treated with the arsenic, it couldn't be cut at Home Depot or Lowe's because it was a health hazard. They changed over. Everything I use is pressure treated with copper. Now, what's leaching all about? That's what you hear all the time. Plastic leaches, you know, the wood leaches, everything leaches, galvanized metal leaches. Is that true? Yes, probably. And yes, actually I know that it's true, but it's such small amounts you don't need to worry about it. I'm linking a video from the Alberta Urban Gardener about leaching, and he has a great channel where he does a lot of experiments and he just gives you the results. So his experiment is taking soil that's leaning against the wood from 3-year-old beds with the copper treated and from 9-year-old beds. He takes it along the wood line and then he does a control out in the middle. And watch the video. Use that information to make a decision for yourself. What it shows is a little bit leaches out where the wood contacts the soil and copper is present. And in the middle of the garden, a lot less copper is present. Does it mean it's coming from the wood? I don't know, because a lot of people use copper sprays and copper dust in the garden. And that's one thing you have to think about is organically, copper is deemed okay to put on your leaves. They have the Bordeaux spray they use on wine, grapes. So copper is used. So I like the experiment because it shows you under a point something amount of copper goes into the ground around the wood. There's less in the middle. The whole point is that it's not a question of does it leach, it's really a question of does it matter. And no, it doesn't matter. Again, here's the logic test. A little bit gets into the soil. That little bit then has to get into some concentration in the plants. It has to be at a level that is toxic to you, to me, to the people eating the food, and that doesn't happen. Bottom line, that doesn't happen. If the concentration of copper got so high in the soil that it's going to harm you, if you ate it, the plants would suffer and show signs of problems. So I'm perfectly fine with using the pressure treated wood that is treated with copper. Now there's a risk. You could find wood treated from 20 years ago. Maybe somebody had a huge stash. You basically want to protect yourself, so buy the wood at a lumber store. Don't get it from some guy on the side of the road. You'll end up with the copper treated lumber if you go to lumber stores nowadays. You can also ask them. Don't burn pressure treated wood. Don't make toothpicks or skewers out of them and use them in fire. That's bad. You don't want to be breathing that in. But you can use it, you know, in your garden. Now, if you're concerned about even small levels, that's perfectly fine. You can go with pine or other kinds of wood. But what you can also do is plant, and this is based off of the video that I'm linking, plant 4 to 6 inches in from the edge. Okay, that's where the lower concentration does happen, but again, it's not even at a level to worry about. So you could also line it with plastic. Now when you line it with plastic, you'll have people that'll jump on, and again, this is for new gardeners, they'll say, well, is that plastic leaching toxic chemicals? It might leach something, but it only really leaches, and this is what a lot of people don't know, is that plastic tends to leach when it degrades from the sunlight hitting it. So when you have plastic buried at a level where the sunlight's not hitting it, then it's not degrading and it's not releasing anything that you need to be concerned about. I can't say that there's zero leaching. What I am saying that I believe that it's safe and it's not even at a level to worry about. So you could line it with plastic. Sometimes, in my opinion, that when you buy fresh copper treated lumber from the lumber stores, they're heavy, they're wet. That's because the solution has been pressure treated and sucked into the wood. On the surface, you're going to have the chemical treatment. Take your wood home, power wash it down. You'll remove any excess that you may be concerned about. And that's a perfectly fine way to do it too. Like, the whole idea is not to run around in fear and say, you know, it's leaching, it's going to poison you. And just let's be clear, it doesn't poison you. Now, you also come over to galvanized metal. Some people say, well, that's leaching too. And before you know it, what are you left with? You can't use metal. You can use untreated wood. Can't use plastics unless it's a special plastic. You could use the earth. You can use whatever you want, but this is really about putting some logic to leaching with the copper treated wood. Again, a significant amount would have to leach from the wood into the soil that's toxic to you and I. The plant then would have to take up a significant level of the copper that's toxic to you and I. The plant would have to survive and look great like this, which it won't, and then you would have to eat it, and you would have to eat it in concentrations that build up the toxicity in your body. It's not going to happen. So, you know, this is a shorter rambling, but I just wanted to get to the point of, can you use pressure treated wood in your garden? And you can if it's the newer chemicals, the newer chemical that uses copper. And that's not even new, it's been being used for 20 years. Again, don't take my word for it. I just wanted to give you some clarity on what's used on the wood, how to go about thinking about it, and deciding if you're going to use it in your garden. I've been doing this, I've been gardening forever, but I've been using the copper pressure treated wood in my garden since they moved from arsenic to copper. So that's a good 20 years. I've not noticed any issues with my plants, no issues with myself. I have no concerns whatsoever. I hope that gives you a little bit of confidence to trust yourself and trust your own research, use your own logic. You know, I'm not saying, you know, just agree with me. I'm saying, you know, be skeptical. If I say this, all right, go check it out. If somebody says leaching is happening and it's deadly, go check it out. But view the video that I've linked to this from the Alberta urban gardener. I think you'll appreciate it, and it makes a lot of sense. And he did the tests. And I guess on the last note, what I would say is, if so much toxicity was leaching into these beds from galvanized metal, from plastic pots, from the pressure treated wood, then how many YouTube videos would you see a guy take samples from along here, samples from the middle of a bed that's a year old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, then go over to a place where there's no treated wood, take a soil sample, and then just run the test and show you, hey, there's, you know, tons of copper in here, it's totally toxic, don't do it. Yeah, a lot. I mean, everybody would be doing it. I'd probably be doing a video on it. No, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't be using the wood. So you don't see those videos. You don't see that simple proof. And if you don't want to believe me, you don't want to believe the people that say it's toxic, do a soil test yourself. And you'll see that the levels are really, you know, nothing to worry about. Hope this gives you some confidence in trusting yourself and making decisions about what you want to use in your garden to grow plants. Thanks so much for watching. This was a short rambling, but I think I rambled on long enough and you got the point, and I feel comfortable that you will challenge what's out there and make decisions on your own. Thanks for watching, and please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com.